Hey, this is Kerry King, and you're checking out Loud TV. It's kind of funny, right? It's kind of funny to have 40 years in this business at all, let alone be starting a new band. It's funny, our first show in Europe is going to be on my 60th birthday at the only venue I've ever canceled in my life, which is super ironic. But put out a record, I think the only thing I can say about that is I'm obviously not done. I got lots more music and lots more things to say, a lot more people to piss off and argue about. So let's start this new endeavor now. Move on.
And it needs, courage, I would say, to launch a new project.
Yeah, it is a lot more difficult than I thought. I've been kind of pampered for the last at least 3 decades. And starting over, even though I have a gigantic history in Slayer, starting over, you're still starting over. You're lower on the bills, you're not making the money, having to figure out how to make sure everybody in my band makes money, so it's worth their time. But yeah, never for a second did I consider not going on, because at this point in life, any record could be your last. I don't think this is my last record, but I have to move on like it is. So put it out, hope the fans like it, hope the fans show up. I like it. I think the fans are going to like it, and I think we're going to have a lot of good times.
And with this lineup made of friends, can you say that?
Absolutely. That was the thing that meant the most to me about moving forward in this project, was getting my friends. I could get anybody in the biz, I can get people I don't know, people I've never met, but I have enough friends in this business to know that I could put a band together of outstanding musicians that are friends, that after the show we can get on the bus and, have a drink and just have fun. No drama, nothing weird's gonna happen that we don't foresee. I look forward to getting out on the road with these guys and having a good time.
Who was the most surprised when you called in the band?
I think the most surprising moment was when I finally gave Mark the gig. Mark put his name in the hat very early, and he's the only one that did demos with me and Paul. We had him come down every 6 weeks or so, and he would just come down and sing the songs he'd already sang, and just every time he'd come down, make them better. But I didn't tell him until like 14 months ago that he got the gig, and I was super nonchalant about it. He was at my place in Vegas, and I said, dude, if you still want the gig, I guess you can have it. And he was super excited, like like almost fan excited. He was so excited, he texted his mom and texted me by accident. And I said, I love you too, man. It's cool. So we went in and recorded like 2 months after that. Like I said, we did demos, and we always made the demos better. And then we got to the studio in Hollywood, and I was in another room doing something, and he sang Residue, and the producer got me and says, hey, I want you to hear where the song is. And I went, okay, cool, expecting, to hear what I was used to hearing. And, I hear the first verse, and I'm going, how did you guys get to this register? It's like, I'd never heard that before. He's like, well, that's where he started singing and felt comfortable. So I went to Mark immediately, and I said, hey, dude, you can recreate this, right? It's like, you're not setting yourself up to fail the first show and blow your voice out and, be canceling shows all over the place. And he assured me he can do it. So, he carried on and went on and did even crazier performances on the later songs that he sang. So apparently he's very confident in what he can do, and I think it sounds great. So I'm anxious to get out and start doing it.
And did you oversee in studio everything with your engineer?
I was there for just about everything.
Was it important for you to oversee everything?
Well, I'm the only one that knew how everything went. I did write everything. Phil in his solos, he came in and did his solos, and I basically turned him loose and said, "Hey man, these are your parts. Have fun." I watched Kyle play bass because we'd never played together. So there's a lot of, I mean, he had the demos, and I'm sure he learned them. But when you play a lot of fast stuff, if you don't have the best quality recordings, you might miss a note here or there. So the only reason I watched Kyle was just to make sure he was playing the right stuff. And I had to correct him a couple times, just, hearing things differently, and I knew how it was. So I'm glad I did that because, a funny bass note might have got on the record. But, I was visually watching him and listening to what he played and making sure everything was right.
So everything was in your mind before recording the album? Or
yeah, I did bass on all the tracks, but I would send Kyle tracks without bass so he can do his own thing. But, for us, wanting to hear how the songs were going to sound, I did 2 guitars, I did bass, I did all the vocals before Mark came in and re-sang them. Just so we can know where everything was at, see if that's where we wanted it to be. And we got so much of that accomplished that I think for the first time in Paul's history, he knew where everything went, knew what it sounded like, knew how the lead sounded, and I think that made for a better overall performance by him.
Did you record solo guitars on this album?
I did.
So it was mixed between Phil and you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was it, so you recorded his solos and then yours, or?
Yeah, he did his first. I was still working on vocals with Mark, so he did his one day. I came in and did mine a couple days later, I think.
So for this first album, you wrote all the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Was it easy for Mark to sing lyrics that he couldn't write?
I think so. Partially because I sang everything in advance, so not only did he have the lyrics, he knew exactly how they went, and him coming in and doing his take on the vocals, if something changed for the better, good for us. I don't write him in a way that it's like, you have to do this, this is the starting point. If it gets better in his version of it, better for the end product anyway.
Many sources of inspiration for this album, but of course war, politics is always it's never-ending inspiration, right?
Oh yeah, there's always going to be things out there to give me lyrical ideas for the next rest of my life, I'm sure. And me being home for 4.5 years, I'm a lot more involved in the political banter of the day than say I was 10 years ago. There's just being home with nothing to do in a pandemic, all you do is watch the news to find out what's going on, really, and catch up on whatever shit show you're watching on TV. So I was much more knowledgeable about American politics in general. So if it's not as vague as it has been in the past, that's just because I know more about it. I'm surprised there's as many wars as there are right now, really. I mean, I thought we were going for a more peaceful society, right? So that's very shocking to me, and hopefully it's not a trend, and hopefully it's not an ongoing, upgoing trend. I think it's very, well, there's always going to be political leaders that want more than what they have, and basically that's what war is.
The very first show will take place in 10 days.
Is it only 10 days? Fuck. I'm not ready.
Have you rehearsed yet with the guys?
I rehearse. I go home Saturday. I fly to the West Coast on Sunday. I rehearse Sunday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then we got 3 days off, then 2 rehearsals in Chicago, and then the first show.
Okay, so it would be the first time that you got all 5 in the same room?
Well, other than the video. But the video, we played together, but we weren't plugged in. So that was fun. It was cool to see us all playing at once, even though there was no sound. But, seeing us all together, I got very comfortable knowing that it looked good. Nobody looked out of place in the videos where I saw it the first time. But yeah, Sunday, is when we played together for the first time.
you will play Hellfest
Yep.
this summer again, the place that you know very much. Are you okay with all these shows and a lot of people who wait you?
I love Hellfest, and I was very happy to get the offer. All these European shows were booked with no one knowing who was in my band, no one knowing what the band sounded like, and I felt very honored by all that. Surprised and honored. Now to be able to come here and do it, I'm looking forward to it because, everybody loves the album, everybody in the band loves the album, so we're all just looking forward to getting out and fucking rocking it.
And you will play your songs, but also you mix songs, right, on the show?
At Hellfest, I imagine we'll probably be playing an hour, maybe a little less. So based on set time, I'm going to do probably 10 songs off the album, and then, whatever handful left of Slayer material that I either wrote or co-wrote.